Hey guys, it's Clovis, and today I've got a tutorial for a fast, good old 3 in a row. Now there's a couple tutorials on this one as well, but again the method can always be improved. So I'll show you the deck setup I use for it and everything. There's a few differences between my deck and a few of the ones we have on YouTube. Now the basis is you want to fill up a deck with cards that don't go in the slots and just leave a few of the same that do show up, so these are the only ones to get in the slot. So here, I have designated a warrior card to be my deck leader, because warriors get the bonus graveyard slots. There's a few monster types that do, I believe. Also spellcasters do, plants do, fairies do. I know fiends don't. I'm not 100% sure all the ones that do and don't. I think also zombies and machines get the extra slots as well. But yeah, some of them like insects don't either, I believe. But anyways, the deck you want to have 3 of the copy of the card your leader is, as well as the leader itself. And in this case, I'm using a monster that you can get in the graveyard slot so that I can have 4 in each slot rather than just 3 if I change my deck leader. Because in this game, the way it works is when you win a duel, the enemy deck leader automatically gets put in the graveyard. If it can be. The only other monsters we need apart from that are these monsters that go over Labyrinth that you can't get in the graveyard slots, and that don't turn the Labyrinth into normal. So you can't use, I recommend not using Shadow Ghoul obviously, because if the enemy use it, then that'll show up in their graveyard, and that's not what we want. So it doesn't really matter if you only have 1 of these, especially at the start you only have 1. I actually was lucky enough to get 1 via this method itself, so I'm able to have 3, but you can just bring it back up with a few Mimikats and stuff. Grab a few Mimikats. Now, the rest of your deck, apart from those monsters, needs to be, again, a bunch of things that you can't get in the graveyard slot at all. So anything you have that doesn't, like, show up is fine. If you're gonna add lots of traps, make sure you actually use these royal decrees, and then you have no problem. So if you have a royal decree on the field, when you keep going over the enemy's monsters or whatever, you won't trigger any of their traps. So this is very, very useful to have these. Again, if you can't fill your whole deck up with these cards, just use the cheat codes in the game, because that's what they're for. And if you still need more, you can start a new game on a new memory card and enter those cheats again, and then just trade them over to this your main save file, which I recommend you should do anyways, because again, that's what the codes are for. So now we've got our deck ready, I'll show you the map that I use for this method as well, which I've already created. So this one is similar to the deck leader ranking concept, where we box the enemy in so they can't really do anything. But because the monster we're leveling up is above 1500, we want them to actually be able to play it, so these tiles won't be crush. But these tiles are crush in case he ever decides he wants to get out. Like if he plays his Labyrinth tank and starts moving it around. I have this bit of crush here so that I can stand at this spot, like just below the middle tile, and then I can play it forward to the left or right, my Labyrinth tank, and then move it up and down the Labyrinth, and yeah, we'll see what that does. But if you have, if you don't have the good thing you can do with Crush here is if he plays his Labyrinth tank here or here, you can use Brain Control or Change of Heart, which you'll have in your deck, and then move his card onto the Crush terrain to kill it, so you don't have to worry about him wasting time and moving that. So when we're ready, we can just go straight into the duel. There's nothing going to be particularly amazing in this video apart from the duel, like as far as the duel is concerned. We're just basically going to use our monsters that go over Labyrinth to just bully the enemy into moving from space to space, and every time they do that, they'll get rid of a monster that they have on the field. But yeah, the rule is with the Labyrinth tank here is it won't show up in the graveyard slot. However, it does go on Labyrinth tank. I mean, the Labyrinth terrain. So once we move it to the enemy deck leader, the enemy deck leader will move and then play another card in an attempt to defend itself. But we're not really interested in the card it's playing, unless it's the monster we want here. So it's going to keep doing this, and it will get rid of all of our cards. So we're just going to hope that it plays the copies we want to get rid of as early as possible. Oh, and apart from using Mimicat to continuously revive your Labyrinth tank if he decides to attack it with his Labyrinth tank, you can just get rid of your Royal Decree and play a Mirror Wall instead. So if he ever attempts to attack your Labyrinth tank, he won't actually be able to kill it, so that will save time as well. So I know this is the last card we want to kill, so I'm just going to get rid of it now. As you can see now, the enemy has no summoning space or movement, so next turn they will lose. But as you can see here, we've got all three of the cards we want in the enemy graveyard. So there's 1, 2, 3, plus the enemy deck leader here. When we win the duel, that shows up in the graveyard slot as well. And then you'll be able to see the difference between a normal graveyard slot and this one. And more to the point, our leader ability will let us get more than 1 3 in a row. So fingers are crossed that we can actually get one here, because we can still mess this up. But as you can see, yeah, it's all just the one monster card. Alright, so we got at least one, but I mean, it's like pretty much guaranteed you're gonna get at least one. If you don't get any, or you just get one, you can just keep doing this over and over again, and you can potentially get like 5.